All right, guys, so I got to talk about this. The billionaires have a plan. They have a plan to effectively make you a slave peasant. They have a plan to take away your rights. And so I want to walk you through it here. First, let me play this clip of Trump being asked about housing and housing prices. Watch this.
You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for their house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses.
So this is Trump siding with the boomers, siding with the people that have all the money, saying like, I don't even really want to build new housing because I don't want to affect the supply and demand. I don't want the net worth of the people who own the houses to go down. So there he is kind of saying like, I'm not interested in solving the housing crisis. I'm not interested in it. Okay, ready? So here is Boston Smalls on Twitter. Shout out to Boston Smalls. He says, let me read between the lines for you. He's going to sell off chunks of land to billionaires and allow them to have their own charters. It will be this century's version of company towns. They will be called Freedom Cities, Gilded Age 2.0. So he says this. Now, this was on December 22nd that Boston Smalls posted this, okay? Look at this. Here we are, December 23rd, a day later. Boston Smalls says, told you. It says, just in. President Trump's administration is considering giving 775 acres of federal wildlife refuge in Texas to Elon Musk's SpaceX. So do you understand what's happening here? What Boston Small said is correct. This is like, I want to give you effectively a company town. I want to give you a company town. They floated this idea in the past, this dystopian ass idea. He already kind of has that with some of his businesses, right? He already kind of has something like that. But they wanted this with like Amazon, for example. You had state governments floating the idea and local governments in conservative places floating the idea of, what if we let Amazon have their own city? And like the people who live there, they pay taxes to Amazon. And like Amazon provides everything. So we are now at the place where there are open conversations about subverting democracy, ending democracy completely, turning our lives over to corporations and billionaires and becoming slave peasants for them. That's what this is. I don't know do people not know the history of company towns? Did they not know the labor struggle history on this front? So, there's one thing, I still remember this. Crystal and I went deep on this a while back. But Matewan, have you guys heard of Matewan? It was like the mine wars in West Virginia. And basically, you had these workers were getting absolutely crushed by this company, this mining company. And the mining company like hired like a private police force to come. And basically they ended up like massacring these workers when the workers were unionizing and standing together. And what you see is they would have like these little company towns. And like you'd get paid absolute shit. You'd get paid like next to nothing. And then what they would do is the same company would own like the local store, right? And so they'd pay you a pittance, they'd pay you next to nothing, and then you'd have to take that money and go to the store, which is also owned by the same company, and give that money back to get like food and something to drink. So do you see the game that's being played here? That's how you become a slave peasant. That's how you become a slave peasant. Here, you're going to work for this company, I'm going to pay you a tiny amount, you're going to take that money, you're going to go right back to this other store that I own as well, and you're going to pay me back there, and if you revolt, and if you try to unionize, and if you ask for better pay and better conditions, I'll send my private police force to fucking kill you. It sounds like a horror movie, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like a horror movie? Like, I couldn't cook up a plan this evil if you let me try to think one up for a month. I could not cook up a plan that evil, but this is what they want to do. And yeah, you know what they're going to do? They're literally going to call them like freedom cities. They're going to give them some branding. They're going to call them open economic zones or some dumb shit. And it's going to be, they're going to carve the U.S. up. They're going to try to carve the U.S. up into little fiefdoms, little billionaire fiefdoms, where, like Peter Thiel is going to run this area, and Elon Musk is going to run that area, and you can go from one to the other, but you don't have rights. You don't have rights, and they own everything there. So whatever you pay, you give right back to them, and you end up, caught in this cycle of endless debt and servitude to the billionaire class. So this is the world we now live in. They get all the tax cuts. They get all the subsidies. Elon's taken over $30 billion to make rockets that explode, okay? At the same time, your Medicaid gets cut. 17 million people get kicked off their health care. Insurance premiums skyrocket, double, triple, quadruple, in some cases more. They cut the food stamp program, of course. They cut 94 million pounds of food aid. 94 million pounds that was supposed to go to food banks during the holidays. They cut that. They got rid of that. They destroyed everything good about the government, all the medical research and the scientific research that has given us phenomenal results. They got rid of that, of course. So this is where we are. We are witnessing the looting of America right in front of our eyes. The billionaire class, the Epstein class are getting whatever they want. There's no accountability. There's no justice. Trump has greenlit their hostile takeover of the country. And people need to wake up and realize what's happening. They need to stop blaming trans people, stop blaming immigrants, stop blaming black people, stop blaming these minority groups that are in the same fucking boat that you are, and start pointing at the right minority that's destroying the country. That's the billionaires. It's also the warmongers, and it's also the fascists. But I repeat myself, because a lot of those are 3 in 1, right? That's what's really going on in this country. So just wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. You wait and you see. They're going to end democracy with a smile on their face while selling you a crock of shit about how it's going to be so much better and you're going to have so much more freedom and you're going to love it. That's what it is.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.